But first, I want to kick it off to our movement politics directors, Dan Fingus. Dan, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Ed. I'm Dan Fingus. I'm the Vermont Movement Politics Director, and really excited to be here tonight because we had an amazingly big year in Vermont when it came to movement politics and elections. We had a member-led endorsement process with a full membership vote that included endorsing 65 candidates. 58 of them got through the primary, and we had 43 victories. And this was such a huge moment because we had victories on the statewide level and on the legislative level. I mean, we are sending the first woman from Vermont to Congress. It's long overdue, but really exciting that Congresswoman-elect Becca Balint will be in Washington, D.C. next year. We're also sending Senator-elect Peter Welsh. We are returning longtime champion David Zuckerman to the Lieutenant Governor's office. We also elected Treasurer Mike Pichek and re-elected Auditor Doug Hoffer. Probably even more exciting is that we have supermajorities for the Democrats and progressives in both the House and the Senate. That's 109 state assembly members, that's 23 state senators, and that means we can have a really bold vision and get things done in 2023 and 2024. Of those big victories, we actually had a lot of members running for office. Our leadership committee member, Tanya Vyhovsky, is now going to be State Senator Tanya Vyhovsky. Our board co-chair, who you heard from already tonight, Jubilee McGill, is making her way to be a state representative. We also had members like Sadia Lamont, Kate Logan, Kate McCann, Connor Casey, Michelle Bosselon, Elizabeth Burrows, Tiff Bloomley, and so many more. We're really going to see a people's state legislature in the next 2 years, and it's really exciting. Unfortunately, all of our people didn't win, but we do want to thank for stepping up so many people who put themselves on the line and either didn't make it through the primary or didn't make it through the general. Special note to Vermont gubernatorial candidate Brenda Siegel. For those in New Hampshire, yes, a RAD member, a RAD leader was our gubernatorial candidate once again after David Zuckerman did it 2 years ago. We're really leading in Vermont. Also want to thank folks like State Senate candidate Anna Taddeo and State Representative candidate Lauren Dees Erickson, who put themselves out there and really put on great campaigns. So now we have to move from winning elections to winning on issues. And that includes us starting a movement governance cohort that's going to create structure and support for our state legislators and make sure that they are in the best position to do good things. And also, because Vermont has our town meeting day on March 7th, it's just around the corner, we're going to get back into election mode and hopefully help support and win municipal and school board races across Vermont. With that, I'll turn it over to my counterpart in New Hampshire, Sebastian.
Hello, everyone. Sebastian Fuentes here, calling from New Hampshire. I'm super excited to be here with you all today. And also just to highlight all the victories we had in 2022 and what are we facing in 2023. 26 of these amazing candidates made it through the general election. And literally from the day after the election, they start getting to work. They are working already. They're communicating about sponsoring bills, about ideas, brainstorming new things that they can bring to the House. And, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. We started the endorsement process, I think was one of the best endorsement process I've ever been a part of. A really fair process where we asked the right questions to our candidates, and we did a really detailed process with amazing individuals as part of that committee. And this is the team that we had. I gotta say I'm so proud of many of them. Many of them they are actually just are just like us, represent the movement, represent the progressive values that we actually want to bring to Concord. There's so many things in New Hampshire that happened in a couple years now ago, but we're going to 2023 with a better grip. We're getting with new, fresh energy. We have amazing candidates like Jonah Wheeler, which is part of the RAD staff, Jody Newell, which is a new elected state representative as well. Jody's in the House. But we also have, for example, James Rosner in Concord, which is the first transgender man part of any state legislator in the U.S. We have Cam Kenny, Lauren Seelig, Tim Horrigan, Renee Montiel, Sean Filio, so many. If I can tell you I can be here for another hour telling you all the names and all the achievements and all the ideas that they want to bring to Conquer. But now we're looking forward. We're looking forward. How are we gonna do it? Co-governance is gonna be super important for all of us. It started already the day after the election. We created a Discord channel though where all the candidates and some members of the staff and myself, we can actually organize and keep the direct line of communication. And that's not gonna stop right there. Today, for example, we have an amazing meeting in Concord with 40 different individuals for 20 different organizations, progressive organizations that I want to get to work with us. That's how we can build co-governance. So we started this coalition today. We're looking forward to how can we collaborate, what kind of ideas and strategies we can bring to the House, because the state representatives in New Hampshire, they need our support. The only way that we can be successful if they are successful as well. So there's going to be so many good things you're going to hear from them. Just getting into 2023, they're already filing so many bills. There's 78 bills just filed by right endorsed candidates. That's 10% of the total amount of bills in the legislature in New Hampshire. So you think about it, it's 400 people, but 10% of those bills are RAD endorsed candidates bills. So we're gonna get to work from day one. We're ready to welcome them in Concord, and also, there's many candidates that didn't make it to the general, but the communication and the cooperation and the friendship never ended. Some of them are running to be part of the board here at Rise of Democracy, and I'm gonna continue keeping the line of communication open with them, because I not only want them to feel like RAD is gonna be welcoming, but they're part of the family, and that's what we need to do. Thank you very much for everything. Looking forward for next year's assembly, and I'll pass it on to, I think, my colleague Doug. Are you there, Doug?
Yes, I am here. I'm here. Thank you so much, Sebastian. So hello, everyone. My name is Doug Hugosdottir, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am the New Hampshire field manager here at RAD. Delighted to show you, I didn't know they were going to show this slide. I feel like emotional, seeing all these amazing people. So the field team did a lot of things this year, and maybe I'll just start with talking about we had a vaccine campaign where we systematically tried to reach the communities and folks, who were vaccine hesitant. We did climate change deep canvas, where we used story sharing and listening to persuade deep inner conflicts that people are having about issues. And we had weekly phone banks from January to December on climate deep canvas, and then also electoral deep canvas. And we canvassed, oh my goodness, we canvassed so much. We went to Rochester and talked to a lot of people about what is important to them. Do they feel connection to the state house? And we learned so much from them. And then we went and canvassed for our candidates, for RAD endorsed candidates. Before the primaries, we had some amazing victories, where one of our candidates won with 4 votes, and we just went to town for those candidates. And then, we canvassed and phone banked for the general elections, and we were all over the state. And we feel so, so proud of the people that, that both won and those who tried, because that's also important, yeah. So I, from my personal point of view, I just want to say that, I had no idea that I would be here when I moved from Iceland in 2014, and I would be, sitting here. Last year, I was just a regular canvasser looking at the general, membership assembly. And I thought they were so powerful. So I'm just really, really proud to be here today. And I will pass it over to Anna, I think.
Thank you, Doug. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Mejia. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Vermont Organizing Director. And on the organizing front, we've been making great strides in putting the people most impacted by issues like the housing crisis, environmental crises, and around education, et cetera, on different campaigns at the forefront in developing solutions and taking center stage in our movement. You'll get to hear from our team of organizers in a moment to talk about their campaigns. And in Vermont, you'll notice that our team has grown. We welcome new faces like Michael, Brittany, and Jody, and myself as well. And at the end of this year, we'll also be saying farewell to Scott. We'll miss you, Scott. And RAD wouldn't be the force that it is without this team of organizers doing the work on the ground. And if you're curious on how you can plug into these efforts, these campaigns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our staff. I'll hand it over to Ali now on the New Hampshire side.
Thanks so much, Anna. Hey, everyone. My name is Ali Brokenshire. I use she, they pronouns. I'm the New Hampshire Organizing Director here at Rights and Democracy. I am so excited to talk about my favorite subject, which is the incredible nature of our team here. I was absolutely blessed and privileged to join the New Hampshire leadership team along Doug and Sebastian earlier this year. And it was some big shoes to fill. As folks know, we lost Isaac Grimm last year, but I shouldn't have been nervous because our team is just absolutely incredible. This year, we not only grew in power, but in people. Jonah Wheeler and Jody Newell joined our team earlier this summer and immediately hit the ground running, along with their colleagues, Kevin Pence, Heather Stockwell, and Brandon LeMay. They built a statewide movement made up of local community leaders. Their teams organized actions. They built strong educational events, those including co-governance along with our issue champions. They gathered data. They held meaningful community conversations. And as a movement, we have built power in a way that is, for the first time, truly represented in our state legislature. I am so grateful to present our team. And at that point, I'm going to hand it off to Kevin Pence. Kevin?
Thank you very much. Kevin Pence, he, him, climate justice organizer here for Rights and Democracy in New Hampshire. Just to sum up some of the work that we've been doing over the last year, we started off the year really focusing on some federal opportunities, really looking at working with the Green New Deal Network and the Renew Network to pressure both our state leaders on the federal level to support and push for the ideas within the Green New Deal that ended up getting, a lot of them got put into what was called the Inflation Reduction Act, which really created, among other things, just billions of dollars for really good work that can happen in states and communities around the country. And then, this summer we began to see the writing on the wall that a lot of the utility rates for people were going to start skyrocketing. And so through the New Hampshire Renew Coalition, we started organizing and pressuring state leaders as well as the New Hampshire Public Utility Commission to push back against some of those rate hikes. And then we organized a statewide town hall where we helped not only highlight the real pressure and damage that these utility rate hikes do to people, but also what are some of the ways forward? How do we get into this situation and how do we get ourselves out of it? And a lot of that is, investing more in renewables and survivable forms of energy that would create jobs and that would make life better for people here in New Hampshire. In addition to that, looking into next year, we really need to, there's a need for Rights and Democracy to really focus more on our own organizing around these issues and really building out our leadership that would then help the Renew New Hampshire Coalition as well. And so we'll be focusing on trying to build out a leadership team and organizing team and things. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in climate at work, please let me know. I will pass it along to the next person.
Hey, my name is Michael. I'm RAD's Vermont Environmental Justice Organizer, and I joined RAD in May and have since been working with Vermont Agency of Transportation and their Department of Environmental Conservation to really transform their processes and to ensure that marginalized community voices are heard and respected and really deeply embedded in the way that those agencies function. And I work really closely with Brittany on that. You'll hear from her next. In this upcoming year, in coordination with the Renews Coalition in Vermont, the Energy Working Group, I'll be organizing Vermont's working class to support the Clean Heat Standard and the Renewable Energy Standard, two bills that would bring green jobs to Vermont, rapidly transition us away from fossil fuels and biofuels, and ensure that heating and electric costs for Vermonters remain affordable and stable. I'll also be supporting the Vermont Renews Coalition's Food Justice Working Group members, such as Migrant Justice, who supports working and living conditions for migrant farm workers, and initiatives such as the Land Access and Opportunity Board to improve land and housing access and affordability for marginalized communities, as well as supporting the passage of Universal School Meals Bill that will secure long-term funding for free school meals. Our environmental justice page on our website will also be updated soon with opportunities to get involved, and you can always email me to chat. And I'll pass it over to Brittany.
Thank you, Michael. And hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here today. My name is Brittany Watson. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Environmental Justice Network Manager. And I'm leading the development for Vermont's first ever Environmental Justice Network. And so the network is intended to be a bridge between decision makers at local, state, and federal levels and communities across Vermont. So the network's mission is as follows. We advance environmental justice and accessibility for all Vermonters through collaboration, education, and policy frameworks. We will work towards collective liberation by centering the communities most impacted by inequities. So in the coming year, beginning in January, we're looking to continue the development of the network by inviting more people to join in on the development. And so what that means is that we're hoping to continue to find people that identify as being like a frontline community member, so someone who's experienced more environmental harms. And so anyone interested in being a part of the process beginning in the new year, please feel free to contact me either via email or cell, and I will put both of those in the chat for you all. Thank you.
Heather is so sorry that she's not able to join us tonight, but I've been given the okay to share a bit about what her and her incredible team have done this year. So first off, in response to co-governance in our election year, Heather, her team, along with national partners, worked on a People Over Profits pledge, holding our champions accountable to the idea that healthcare is a human right, which is a foundational part of RAD's work here. A good chunk of this year, however, outside of elections, was to work around denials work. Across the nation, information was gathered regarding insurance denials. They created a network of local doctors and leaders to build a core team and organize around this issue. The teams worked in tandem with impacted folks to fight these denials with insurance companies. They would knock, they would call, they would do whatever it took to make sure that folks were getting insurance coverage. They pay for it. Why are we getting denied? And out of all of that, they kept showing up at the doorstep of power and holding those that hold our lives in their hands accountable. I'm going to pass it over to Ed to share an anecdote of a recent action held in Indiana with national partners. But if you're interested in getting involved with our healthcare work, please reach out to Heather Stockwell at heather@radnh.org. Ed, could you tell us about the action, please?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Allie. Ed Taylor, he, him, New Hampshire State Director. Heather, myself, one of Heather's leaders, and Kaya Morris, our Executive Director, traveled to Indianapolis, Indiana to protest against Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, who, RAD is, a healthcare subscriber of. So, we were Blue Cross Blue Shield members demanding a meeting with the CEO. We went in and occupied the space. We had folks who were directly impacted, including our Executive Director, Kai Morris, come up and give testimonials of their firsthand experiences with the injustices of the healthcare system. The campaign is called Care Over Cost, because we fundamentally believe that folks' care is more important than the dollars that these big healthcare conglomerates are raking in from our pain and suffering. So, Heather, myself, and her leader, and Kaya, went down to a very ruby red state to show them what some organizing looks like. Thanks, Allie. And I can pass it on to our next speaker, Mia Schultz.
Thanks, Ed. Hey, everybody. My name is Mia Schultz. I am the Education Justice Organizer for Vermont. And we started our campaign this year with town meeting day and school board elections. We were so instrumental in not only training school board candidates, but we were championing those who decided to run, and they won in many cases in pivotal areas across the state. That are really being threatened in real ways. We continue to organize in districts, including those who have been directly impacted by the onslaught of hate from the far right, with anti-CRT rhetoric and outright hate against trans students and educators. And we're on the front lines of that organizing. And we're taking up a people approach to our organizing and moving at the speed of trust that includes our partners like those at Outright Vermont. And we include space for healing. And we tap on our local teacher union at the NEA to organize together all with the guidance of our national partners at Race Forward under the Heal Together initiative. And that includes also NYU Metro. We've also been supporting in coalition efforts with many partners, including the Education Justice Coalition, the ACLU, and the Human Rights Commission, and so many more, and a network that's committed to removing police out of schools. We even developed a toolkit that communities can use to organize to remove police out of schools. And we created a video in response to the tragedy the tragedy in Uvalde, and we talked about reimagining what school safety looks like. And we are working on changing the way financing works in public education, and that includes doing it with equity. We're look for more legislation coming through this next year in 2023 regarding income tax funding. And we will champion for this change so that we can make funding in our schools more equitable. And we're prepping for a year of storytelling from all stakeholders in public schools. We hope that these stories transform policy and motivate leaders to run for office. And we couldn't do any of this work without the enthusiasm that we have received from our members. And we are looking so forward to working with you continually throughout the next year. Thank you, everybody, for supporting our work. And I will pass it over to my partner in New Hampshire, Jonah.
Thank you, Mia. And I apologize for joining in my car, but I'm Jonah Wheeler, from Peterborough, New Hampshire. I'm the Education, Justice, and Heal Together organizer for Rights and Democracy, and have been. Thank you, Ed. I am dressed for success at the State House right now, so I always in the suit. You know it. But I do the education justice work for New Hampshire. That right now is consisting of a program called H.E.A.L Together, which stands for Honest Education, Action, and Leadership. In that program, we are working in the Nashua Public Schools, doing listening sessions and trying to build bridges between the teachers and educators and the parents and students to bring us into a position where we can finally get to community schools in Nashua and throughout our state, so that we can have wraparound services for the children in those schools, which means they will have a schedule which works for them and is best for their educating style, determined by a group of people who are the stakeholders, their teacher, their parents, all the stakeholders, including them, trying to bring those forth. And we have, I think, a lot of success coming forth in this next year in regard to community schools, because people on the ground are ready to build those bridges. A lot of the stories we heard in the schools were pretty sobering. The teachers need an assistant. They need a movement, and Rights and Democracy has been that movement, and it's been a pleasure to organize as the education justice organizer for Rights and Democracy and be a part of building that movement for the teachers and educators and the students who need it so bad. The COVID crisis left our schools in a really rough situation, but they were in a rough situation before. In New Hampshire, we fund our schools through property taxes, and that can give you a situation where, like in my home district of Conval, we're well funded because we have a large district with rich towns. But if you go 10 minutes down the road to the bordering town of Jaffrey, you can go to Conant, and that's a one building school where the middle and high school are in the same building, and there's a lot more poverty there. There's a lot more drug crime. There's a lot more crime in general, and that's just as a result of the poor property values. So we need education equity, as Mia mentioned, and what she talked about, and we're trying to bring that here in New Hampshire as well through, as Ed mentioned, progressive taxation. So I'm looking forward to continuing this work. Started halfway throughout the year, but I'm available if anyone wants to meet or help out with the work, and I'm looking forward to what we can do. So I'll pass it off to whoever's next. I apologize, I haven't seen the agenda, but thank you very much. And this is what we do here at Rights and Democracy could not be more important. It's the movement is so necessary. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Jonah. And hey, everybody, my name is Scott Weathers, and I'm our economic justice organizer in Vermont. It's been an honor to work on this campaign over the last year. Our economic justice campaign in Vermont is focused on working with the service industry, to try to improve the wages of folks that work in the service industry. And so over the last year, I've primarily been focused on meeting with workers and meeting with business owners firsthand to try to talk about the issues in the service industry and how we might be able to work on them. So I was really excited about a month or two ago to have this event that's pictured right here in Hartford at Piecemeal Pies. They're a really amazing collaborator on this work and support raising the wages of folks in the service industry. On the left there, we've got a ton of our legislative champions, and I was really excited to see several of them introduce legislation that is going to meet our one fair wage goals to eliminate the sub-minimum wage for tipped workers in Vermont. So we're really excited to get that work off the ground. We've been doing a lot of grassroots base building over the last year, and we actually have an opportunity for many of you to participate if you're interested. We are going to be having on December 20th, which is a Tuesday at 4 p.m. If you have worked in the service industry before, or if you know someone who's worked in the service industry before, we're going to be recording testimony of folks just to talk about their experience working in the service industry. We're going to be doing that in Burlington, and this footage is really helpful because it's going to allow us to kick off our legislative campaign in January when the legislature starts to meet. And so we'd love to have your thoughts, your commentary, your experience. We will be compensating workers that are able to attend. So if that's something that you're interested in, please reach out to me. I'll put my contact information right now in the chat. You can reach out also over Zoom in the chat to me directly if you'd like, and would love to hear from you and participate. So I think next up is Jody. Thanks so much.
Hello. Really excited to join you today. I'm really excited about the work that we've been doing with the overdose crisis work in New Hampshire and Vermont. I am the overdose crisis organizer for both states, and I have really been trying to build up a base of support and a base of people who are directly affected. I think when it really comes down to it, I know personally myself being directly affected by the overdose crisis, that the voices of people who have been directly affected are the most important. So what we have done over the last year, I have to give a shout out to Heather Stockwell, because she's absolutely amazing and really got the ball rolling and followed it through with the overdose awareness event that we had earlier this year, August 31st. That is the picture that is shown on the left. The other one is talking about what we did in conjunction with People's Action. So I was able to have that platform because we coordinate with a national organization called People's Action. And because of that, I was able to speak on my own experience and rally people around this issue where they could really make an impact, not only on a state level, but on a national level, which I think is absolutely amazing. We come together because we want to work on our state's issues, but also that's very much impacted by the legislation passed down by the federal government. And so in that spirit, I'd really like to just use this time to encourage anyone who has who wants to support what's happening on a national level. Right now we have the MAD Act, which is the Medically Assisted Treatment Act, and that allows for buprenorphine, which is essentially the generic form of Suboxone, to be easier prescribed and more easily accessible by people who are in our rural districts. And I think, in New Hampshire and Vermont, where we understand what that's like to be in a rural district, you're not able to access things that people in an urban district maybe have more access to. So I'd like for, actually Maggie's going to post it in the chat right now. If anyone right now would like to support us, right now we are looking at the MAD Act being introduced in the omnibus spending bill, which is a must-pass spending bill. We have passed this in the House. 402 of our representatives voted in favor of passing this as part of a broader mental health spending bill. And all I can say is right now we're really down to the wire, and anyone who can support, it is very, very important that you do. So if you even have that inclination, please look at the link that's in the chat right now. Please copy and paste it and support the MAD Act, and urge our federal delegation to support that and really to put a lot of power behind it. Lots more to come, but let me pass it off to LeMay,
who is unfortunately not here tonight. He is on his way to a family wedding. I promise this is the last time you'll hear from me this evening. LeMay put together a memo in regards to the 2022 housing justice work, so I'm just going to read that. Federally, our tenant leaders took a leading role in the core team of a Homes Guarantee campaign, where we met with the White House Economic Council, Secretary of HUD, the Consumer Protection Finance Bureau, and Federal Housing Finance Agency, urging them to take executive action on rental inflation. We held a rally outside of the White House and briefed Congress that the rent was too damn high. We are going into 2023 united with tenant-led organizations all around the country to keep the heat on the Biden administration. Statewide, we've established the Granite State Tenants Union, already with dozens of members all over the state. Members of the Tenant Union, Manchester Housing Alliance, and other members of RAD's housing campaign are currently monitoring or supporting 13 housing bills in Concord with the help of our movement politics candidates, which includes LeMay himself. Locally, the Manchester Housing Alliance has established itself as an organization that developers want to talk to when they want to build in Manchester. In exchange for speaking favorably for a proposal in Manchester, we arranged for at least one ADA compliant unit in each building they construct, 6 in total. We've sent dozens of members to speak at local planning, zoning, aldermanic, and city council meetings in Manchester and Newmarket to demand more affordable housing. The 2023 outlook, there are 2 things we will always do as a campaign: fight like hell and build our movement. We are starting our first core team meeting with the Granite State Tenants Union to strategize around policy fights, establishing a regular tenant door knocking program, starting a tenant hotline, and continuing to add more and more to the tenants movement in New Hampshire. If you're interested in getting involved with our housing justice, I highly suggest reaching out to LeMay. Is it Brandon at radnh.com? It auto-populates for me. I apologize.
Yes.
Okay. It's Brandon at radnh.org. Reach out to him, join the housing team, an incredible group of people from all across the state. We are so proud of all the work that's been done. And thank you. I'm gonna hand it off to, I think, Tom, you're up.
Thank you very much, Ali. And what incredible work LeMay's done in New Hampshire. I hope my resume is just as impressive as his at the end of my speech. What a year it's been for housing in Vermont and for housing for rights and democracy. We kicked it off this year by getting through the State House, our charter change bill that we passed in Burlington, through GovOps in the House, through GovOps in the Senate, and then onto the governor's desk, a just cause eviction charter change bill that would prevent tenants from being kicked out of their house who have done nothing wrong, who have paid their rent on time and have looked after their houses. Unfortunately, when it got to the governor's desk, he vetoed it. We were heartbroken, but we rallied and we got within a hair's breadth of getting a veto override vote. Unfortunately, coming one short with just 99 votes in the House. We licked our wounds though, we dusted ourselves off and we rallied and we came back really, really strong. In the last 6 months, we have put together a multi-municipality campaign where we are putting just cause eviction on the ballot in 4 more municipalities across the state. In fact, I see some people in the participant list tonight who have been helping out with that. Thank you very much. And Zimmerman. So we are now trying to get this on the ballot in Brattleboro, in Winooski, in Hartford, and we just found out yesterday that Essex are going to be putting it on the ballot in 2023. We are a whisker away from getting on the ballot in Winooski with just 30 signatures remaining. We still definitely need help in Brattleboro, so please, please, please get in contact if you can go canvassing for them. And Hartford have been debating this week to put it onto their 2023 ballot, and we are so close to doing that. We have also managed to win a pitch and grant with the Energy Action Network to develop a plan with them, a policy with them, to ensure that landlords have to weatherize their homes or have to pay the utility bills of their tenants. This is an epidemic happening across Vermont. We have got an incredibly old and aging housing stock with 25% of our houses created before 1929. They are old, they are drafty, and the tenants in them are suffering throughout the winter because of inadequate heating, drafty windows, and what we're now seeing now, sky-high energy costs. This bill that we are creating in conjunction with the Energy Action Network would require landlords to pay for their tenants' utility bills if they did not weatherize their apartments. It's really exciting. It's going to be a 2-year policy campaign, and we're getting a really great team together right now. I can't thank Energy Action Network enough for putting their faith in us and helping us push this policy. Finally, and I would say probably the most exciting thing that is coming up in the next year is we've been working very closely with our partners at Vermont Legal Aid and the Vermont Interfaith Action. Both of those organizations have seen on the front lines what the housing crisis is doing to tenants and communities across Vermont. And we have worked together with them to create an incredible slate of housing policies that we're going to be pushing over the next 2 years. We know that the housing crisis does not have any one-size-fits-all policy. It's going to take a multitude of policies to get us back to normal. So we will be presenting this to dozens of organizations just next week. We have already got co-sponsors in the House and in the Senate ready to push some of these policies that include statewide just cause eviction, include a rental registry, include eviction prevention, and many, many more to come in the 2024 session as well. That's just about to be launched. I'm really excited. And if anyone would like to help out with this, please, please, please get in touch with me. We need all the help we can get to create this housing reform desperately needed in Vermont. Thank you.